Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Amy of AJC Magic TV. I do apologize for being a little late. Got home a little late from work and had to do a couple errands before I got home. So welcome in. Thank you for being here. I hope you're having a good Wednesday, a good week. And I do appreciate that you are here watching my channel. And I know you could be watching others. And I know I was late, so that's my fault there, but I thank you. And we'll go ahead and say hello to the chat. Thank you, Kathy Hollister. And we'll get started. Welcome in, Tita, Mary Ellen, Jason Thibodeau. Hello, Gloria Thibodeau. Also, Kevin, Theme Park Adventures, Kathy Hollister. I saw Nico the Greco, Zippity Doo Dug, The Hitchhiking Bones, Jen, Lily's mom, Lily's Life. And hello to Lily's dad. He may be working or on his way home. But thank you all for joining. Yes, I got back from Disneyland on Sunday. We arrived there on Wednesday. We left the Eastern Coast at about 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., went through Las Vegas, got into Anaheim about 11:15 or so, and was at our hotel within the half hour, and we were probably at Disneyland by 1 p.m. Our actual surprise that my room was ready. I stayed at that Courtyard by Marriott. Well, it was the Courtyard Anaheim Resort and Convention Center by Marriott. It was by the Anaheim Convention Center, and it was about a block diagonally across from the Toy Story parking lot. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But and then we'll get to the trivia questions. But hello to the Hitchhiking Bones, Don, LSU, Emily, welcome in. And I know I'm probably going quickly. I did research a lot of different hotels. My original hotel, I was going to stay at the Fairfield Marriott, which was about, you walked across the street from the entrance of Disneyland to the left, about 2-3 hotels down, where the McDonald's, in between McDonald's and Panera. And after talking with Jennifer Crusoe to see where she stayed and talking to various other people checking prices, I decided I was going to go stay at the hotel that Jennifer stayed at, because it was going to be half the cost of what I was going to pay at the Fairfield Marriott, even though it was closer and across the road. But when I was also looking, the Courtyard by Marriott had the same price as the Delta Marriott, which was 2 more blocks behind where we stayed, had the same price. So I ended up staying at the Courtyard by Marriott. And it was right near the Toy Story parking lot, which I was familiar with. A lot of people, they don't encourage that at the hotels. They want you to use the ART bus system, which is like $6 or $7 a day. And they told us where that bus stop was, but I knew we were going to walk to the Toy Story parking lot, because a lot of other people said, walk there, that's owned by Disney, it won't cost you anything. You go through security from opening at 7 a.m. till noon time, and then you bypass the security when you get to the main gate to be dropped off. So that's what we did every morning. We did take it back to the hotel one afternoon, but most of the time at the end of the day, we ended up just taking a lift back to our hotel. And one of the reasons why I did that, because it was late at night. And when you do go to the Toy Story parking lot, you still have to walk to the middle of the parking lot. So their bus station and security and everything's in the middle of the parking lot. They only run the Disney security from opening at 7 a.m. till noon time, but it does save you time when you get to the main gate if it's not lined up at the main gate, because a lot of times in the morning that line gets pretty long, because it is a walkable area. If you've never been to Disneyland, I will say, I mean, you can rent a car and that, but a lot of hotels charge for parking. And Disneyland, you're pretty much walking everywhere. Even if you stay at their 3 hotels, you walk to the parks. They're pretty close by, but some of those hotels that are across from the main entrance on Harbor Boulevard are probably closer than the Pixar Place and the Disneyland Hotel. And just to kind of give a reference, and when you walk right off the property, you're in the city of Anaheim, so you're mixed in with regular public and people visiting Disneyland and everything, just to give you an idea. And they do have a very good bus system. I don't really take public transportation around here, except I do take a streetcar that we call the T system here in Pittsburgh, but I'm not real familiar with buses. So I was researching the ART bus in case I wanted to do that, but I figured I would Lyft or Uber depending on where I was going to stay if I had to. Just because there was two of us, my nephew Colton traveled with me. He was more excited because he's never been to Disneyland. Plus, he's read all the different Disney books on Imagineering and all that different stuff. I walked and it was a little hike. Yes, I stayed at the Anaheim last year. Yes, I know a few people that stay at that Anaheim. In fact, Josh, Resort TV1, was at the Anaheim Inn. And welcome in, Shelby, Sunlit. And I had gotten reference about staying at the Fairfield Marriott when I was in a chat of one of the streamers that I watch all the time. And so I booked it because it was fairly reasonable and everything. But then I started thinking about different costs and watching a lot of videos. And you have to watch some of the YouTubers that do videos. They work for a travel company or they're helping out a travel company. So they don't give you what the actual feel of the hotel or the neighborhood around the hotel. But most of the hotels along Harbor, they're contained within and people are walking around and everything. It's just when you go back further and off the harbor in certain areas, you just have to be careful where you're staying. And some of them, even though they're talking about the Best Western, the rooms may not be as, they may be worn down more than some of the other places. Our room was the Courtyard by Marriott was pretty well, yeah, was really nice. And we barely were at the room anyway. So for what we paid for the price, I'm glad we switched. And we were pretty much at Disneyland from open till close, except we did take a break. One time I did go back to the room to take merchandise back to the room and change out stuff. And then another time we went over to the Grand Californian and looked around the resorts and kind of relaxed and then walked into the back of Disney's California Adventure because they actually have an entrance right there into the park because it sits right on the border of the park. So if you're a walker, Disneyland's your place. So that's the big thing. Get into walking shape. Lots of families and everyone. Some of the merchandise I picked up because it was the 70th anniversary, the actual day that Disneyland opened. I picked up this shirt, which is just a generalized one. And then I did pick up a couple other shirts. I was there for the 70th anniversary, which was the day of t-shirt. And then I picked up the pin that they had that was dated. And then I picked up the pin. I picked up another Disneyland shirt. I have one for Walt Disney World also. It shows the park. And it's kind of like a concert t-shirt. And I have one for Walt Disney World, and I bought that one. But it'll tell you all the rides. And I will say my nephew and I pretty much almost rode every single ride that was offered at the parks. Our tickets included Lightning Lane. If you can, if you're living on the West Coast or know someone on the West Coast, and we did call the local Costco's to see if they had tickets available, but they right now, I think it runs through the end of August. They had a 3-day park hopper with Lightning Lane and a gift card included on it for a very good price at Costco's. So if you're planning on going by the end of August, check into that, especially if you're only going 3 days. We actually went 4 days, so we did a 4-day park hopper with Lightning Lane. It did help with some of the bigger rides like Indiana Jones. We rode that pretty much every day. They don't do Pirates anymore, but the line moves fairly quickly. We used it for Space Mountain, the Incredicoaster. I actually had another Incredicoaster, but some of the rides were going down. I think that's one of the drawbacks of Disneyland too. I don't know if it's something with their electricity or the way they do their electricity out there or something, but there was a point where some of the rides were going down, and the Incredicoaster was one that kept going down when it was time to do our Lightning Lanes and everything. My nephew did ride the Incredicoaster. He's not real big on coasters, but I was going to ride it again, and he wasn't going to go with me, but it broke down, so I just used it for something else. Oh, no problem, Lisa. Welcome in, Lisa, Keith, and Joey. Thank you for joining. I was just talking about my trip to Disneyland. One of the things I also bought we were in the candy store, so I just bought this Nightmare Before Christmas Jack Skellington. It had popping candy inside, and then the Goofies candy bag of the sour balls. And I'll show you the pins that I got. They had 2 pins for the day of. One was a jumbo Tinkerbell pin. I think I probably should have bought it, but I did not buy it. But this was the day of pin that they had. They also had other 70th anniversary pins with different characters, like the Ghost Host, Hatbox Ghost. They had one with Oswald, the Lucky Rabbit, and a couple other characters. But we pretty much did all the rides, almost all the rides. There was a couple, like we were in line for the jumping jellyfish, and we were getting ready to get on, and we decided, that's more kiddish for kids, so we told the cast member we weren't going to ride the ride. It was something where it takes the umbrella up and then kind of drops you down real slow, and we just decided, that's okay. That's made for kids. Also, one of the other reasons when we were out there, D23 had a special event. I know it's a controversial thing about the Walt Disney, new Walt Disney story with the animatronic of Walt Disney, but we had signed up for a D23 event with a couple of the Imagineers and archive persons there were 2 of them, 2 people. I can't remember the gentleman's name. He was the Imagineer, and the archives person was her name. Now I can't remember her name now. I'll have to look it up. I want to say Brenda from Archives. If my nephew was here, he would know the names, but he's at work. But so we got to get up. We got up early to the parks. We had to be there by 6:30 to start checking in, and then they took us into Disneyland at 7 a.m. and talked about the show and how they recreated Walt's office on the stage. And then you got to see the program again. We did see it the day before, but then this was really welcome in, Amy DeBoer. And then we did see the show again. We saw the show 3 times. So the first day we got they did it on the virtual queue. And then the next day, the day that we got to see the show with the Imagineers, we got the virtual queue again because we really wanted to look at the details and everything. And then we got it again the third time for on Friday, but then on Saturday they took away the virtual queue, but we didn't realize that about it until we actually got home. I thought maybe it was broken down because it did go down, I think, on opening day once or twice during the day, or even the next day that it might have went down. Then they actually gave us a poster of Walt Disney and about the poster that they have of a sign there. If I can get it out, I will show you. And we're going to get started with trivia. So just bear with me one moment. But this was the poster that they gave us as part of the gift, plus a lanyard. Plus we got seating by the It's a Small World Plaza for the Paint the Night parade and the fireworks. Paint the Night is a very cool parade. I like the music. I'm glad that Walt Disney World has their new Starlight Parade. But the Paint the Night is pretty incredible. The floats are huge. And the music's pretty catchy. So I can't wait to go see Starlight Parade in person. But it won't be for a while yet. But Paint the Night, I did do a live stream with Paint the Night Parade, so hopefully it turned out well. I didn't really rewatch it. I'll have to. But it is a fun parade. The music's fun. People are clapping and dancing. It was pretty amazing to be right there along the railing of the seating area. I did wait for that area because it was starting to fill in. And my nephew was doing some other things like It's a Small World, and he wanted to ride the couple other smaller rides that were around the area. But that's pretty much my trip. We flew Southwest Airlines from Pittsburgh. We had to have a stopover. We flew through Las Vegas on the way there and Denver on the way home. We actually flew into Long Beach, California, because I checked the prices of the Orange County Airport, which is the John Wayne Orange County Airport, and Santa Ana. That was more money. And I checked LAX, and they were a little bit more money. I was looking at a nonstop flight home through LAX on American, but the price was still sitting high. And then, of course, once I bought my tickets to go home on Southwest, that's when the price went down on American. So I was like, but it kind of saved us anyway, because we would have had to go all the way into LAX to fly home for a nonstop flight. So that was the only thing. Maybe I missed this. No, I did not stay on property because of the anniversary. A lot of the prices were pretty up there, and the pricing for all three of the hotels. I think if I would have, when we started talking about it, if I would have probably booked the hotel like a half a year ago, we might have gotten a better price. But as it was getting closer, it was very unreachable. And I originally had a hotel that was down the road across the street from there, the Fairfield Marriott. It was a suggestion of a couple people from California Streams, and one of the streamers things, one of the couple of their people said the Fairfield Marriott. And then when Jennifer had gone, she had stayed somewhere a little bit further back. And I watched different videos, so I started checking different prices through AAA, through the Disney website, and even through Marriott itself. I found the Courtyard by Marriott by the convention center at a fairly reasonable price, and it was close to the Toy Story lot that Disney owns, and they run shuttles that didn't cost anything for us to walk over or get on the shuttle, and a lot of people were doing that from their hotels. Not a lot, but But I mean, you can walk it from the Courtyard by Marriott, but we decided we would walk over to the Toy Story parking lot because they have the security right at the Toy Story parking lot in the morning. So it helped us bypass the long line at the regular gate. Should have asked for the Regina Erie discount for the flight. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, when I was on the airline, I'm like sitting there. I started thinking about Regina and how she gets all her merch home because I see that the flight attendants stuffing other things up in certain spots of the airplane, and I'm thinking, I don't know how she gets all that merch on those planes when she's working. They're flying home working, but yeah, I watched a lot of different videos. I asked a few people that work that have gone to Disneyland and some other people that I had met like through Pete McDevitt's show, and just kind of asked them, hey, what's this like? What's that like? Because when you do watch some of the different people that are out there, they sort of get rooms comped by a travel company. So they're telling you about the hotel and that, but they don't tell you where a lot of different features of like, yeah, it's a little rowdy at night, or it's yeah, it sits back a couple blocks from Disneyland, but it's not really safe to be walking at night, or something like that. So that was the only thing that was kind of concerning for me when I was looking around. And since I had been out there before, a couple years ago, I had stayed at a hotel that was close by where we stayed at the Courtyard by Marriott, but I only stayed there one night, and then I moved to the Pixar place before it was the Pixar place. So I didn't really have a general idea because there's a lot of Best Westerns out there, and two of them are right across the street, but they're kind of older, and sometimes some of the people talk about the noise and the groups and different things like that from the street or whatever, but they seemed fairly decent when we went by, and a lot of different families staying there. So just do your research, ask around. Plus, I saved money by moving to the Courtyard by the convention center than staying right across the road. But sometimes you might be able to get a good rate depending on when you're going. We went for the 70th anniversary, so a lot of the prices were pretty high. As we know, the price surges. But we'll get started unless you have other questions. Welcome in, Mark Lagenkamp. Yeah, sorry I missed you. We actually left on Sunday morning back to Pittsburgh. We were planning on staying through Sunday at one time, but then decided that it was going to be a long time, the 5 days. And I was trying to talk my nephew into doing some type of tour into Hollywood or even to the Warner Brothers studios and stuff. But that was that was kind of hard to kind of convince him there to do that, because he really, if anybody was upset leaving on Sunday, I think it was more him. Not that I wasn't, sad to leave. It was, he was more quieter and everything like that. So that Disney depression started right away. Like, oh, we're going home, because he really had fun looking at a lot of the archives and read a lot about different parts of the park. He got to see Bob Gurr on the fire truck. And we saw Josh tomorrow, of course, on the anniversary day. Yes, the Disney Blues. Yes, I know D23 actually had. If I would have gotten it, we probably would have stayed or went later in the time period of gotten there on the 17th, but it was good to be there in the morning to get a lot of the special maps and everything, because I did get the opening day map that they were putting out, or the special map that they put out, and a button. It's somewhere in my bag. I'm experiencing the blues right now. I want to run away from my life. In fact, I even joked around with him like, hey, we should catch the red eye on Saturday night and go over to Orlando to see the new parade. Just that, just as a tease type of thing. But yeah, that'll wait. The new test track and the Starlight Parade. And I know a couple people had asked me, which park do I prefer? That's hard to say because they're both unique in their own ways. I wish Disneyland was a little bit closer to where I live. I do like that quaintness and some of the different attractions, especially their Fantasyland. They have a lot of nice dark rides that, some of them you're going, why didn't they put something like this in Disneyland? And I know, we're going to get some other things that are coming soon or coming in the next few years. Hopefully that I'll be still sprite enough to get on some of that stuff. But like the dark rides, like I'm sitting there like, boy, it would be cool to have that Pinocchio ride. And I know they have the Monsters Inc. ride at Disney's California Adventure, and you're going, they should have put that in there somewhere at one point or some sort of like that. I think it's actually going to be coming to Disney to the Hollywood Studios for Monsters Land, but I'm not sure. But the other ride I really thought that Disney missed the boat is when Disney MGM Studios, now Disney Hollywood's open, Roger Rabbit was supposed to be the mascot and the big deal about the Disney MGM Studios. Why didn't they put that Roger Rabbit cartoon spin ride in Hollywood Studios back in the 1989 when the park opened? Because they did have that little section of Roger Rabbit, and he was kind of going to be the mascot of the park. And I think they kind of blew that. They could have had that back in the area when you got off the tram ride, that they could have had that Roger Rabbit cartoon spin ride at Hollywood Studios, because that was a pretty cute ride, and I really liked the Roger Rabbit movie. And if you ever look at Hollywood and Vine, you can see Eddie Valent's office and the cutout of Roger Rabbit until they decide, like, let's take that all away. One of these days, they probably will. So, if you're a Roger Rabbit fan, make sure you check that out. But we'll get started on the trivia here. Yes, I love the Roger Rabbit movie too. Yes, and we really enjoyed Indiana Jones, so that'll be exciting. Hopefully, they do it a little bit different and mix it up. I think that when you do ride the ride, I couldn't really remember or not, but I think you do kind of get a little bit of a different experience each time on the ride and everything like that. So yeah, but they're each unique in their own way. I mean, when you do go to Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, you're in the city of Anaheim. That's really the two things there. They do have like malls and different things around the area, or you can, get in if you rent a car or take an Uber, you have to go further into LA or go to, I really wanted to try to do the Universal Studios Hollywood, but we just didn't have the time to do that. So, but that's something that if I do get to go back to California, that's going to be on my checklist of that, just to go and experience or take a tour of one of the studios or something. By that, I know D23 had a couple different tours that were available that sold out pretty quickly, especially when you get a chance to do the Walt Disney Studios, because otherwise you can't really go there unless you actually know someone that would get you in there, or they had the special tours. So that's a thing there. And there are plenty of famous YouTubers and Imagineers and all that there too, during at least the 70th day. So But let's get started. I know I keep going back to the thing, but we'll get started here. But I'll mix it up with pop culture. Yes, we did have a wonderful time. Um, I do want to get back to Walt Disney World. I mean, it's contained within itself, and I know everything's spread out, but it was just so nice. Like we would spend part of the day in Disneyland, and then hey, let's look at the times at the Disney's California Adventure and make a lightning lane for a ride across the way. So, and went in and did a few things in Disney's California Adventure. So it was a good time. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Thank you. And that celebration will be running through. I'm not sure when they're going to end that celebration, whether it's going to be at the end of the year or not, but they do have the special parades and stuff like that too. But here we go. And it's pop culture, and then I have sports trivia. AU, letter A and U is the chemical symbol for what element? A and letter U is the chemical symbol for what element? But A and letter U is the chemical symbol for what element? And the answer is gold. Gold. So we had Kathy Hollister first. Then Jen's Lily's mom. Cakes, welcome in Cakes. 2112. Then we had Kevin Theme Park Adventures. Lily's Life. It's Joey's World. And that's it. I will say our first, my nephew's first ride that we rode besides the bus to the park, we decided to start over at the Haunted Mansion. The last time I was there was that, and I went years ago in the late 80s, and when it was just Disneyland, and I did see the Haunted Mansion, but I didn't really remember it. And the last time I had gone, it was not that I don't like the Nightmare Before Christmas version of the Haunted Mansion. I really wanted to see the original Haunted Mansion. So that was great. That was our first ride of the trip, was the Haunted Mansion. And then, Pirates, we did Mark Twain a couple times, the Mark Twain Riverboat a couple times. Pirates a couple, we did all the rides pretty much a couple times. Okay, here we go. Next question. Who directed the movie Avatar? Who directed the movie Avatar? Yes, Peter Pan is still there. And that's probably the longest line in Fantasyland, is the Peter Pan ride. Who directed the movie Avatar? But yes, they have Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Pinocchio, Snow White, which we used to have that version, and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So we rode all the dark rides. Who directed the movie Avatar? The answer is James Cameron. James Cameron. So we have It's Joey's World first. Then we had Cakes, Jen Lily's mom, Amy DeBoer, Kevin Theme Park Adventures, Kathy Hollister, Jason Thibodeau, Lily's Life. Did he do the Terminator movies too? I think he did, Kathy. I think he did. Oh, where is Movie Mania Nick when you need him? Yes. Yes. Sorry for all the science and math questions, but the next question. Here we go. How many pints are in a gallon? How many pints are in a gallon? For all you science and math wizards. How many pints are in a gallon? And I know I was kind of planning to try to go live, but since it was my nephew's first trip and it was just it was crowded on the 70th anniversary, but we were still able to do a lot of different rides. But since it was his first trip and um, everything, I just decided we'll go live when I can. And that's the reason why I did a pop up with the one cavalcade, and then I decided I would do the paint the night parade and fireworks. But how many pints are in a gallon? And the answer is 8 pints. 8 pints are in a gallon. So Jason Thibodeau got it first. Then we had It's Joey's World, Cakes 2112, Lily's Life, Jen Lily's mom, Kevin Theme Park Adventures. Good job. Let's mix it up here. Eight. Sorry, had to get the phone. Okay, LSU mom. LSU mom. I'll give it to you. And we did watch The World of Color our very first night. The World of Color. And it was interesting because the weather was perfect weather. I mean, it was chilly in the morning, then it got hot, and then it did cool off in the evening. So a lot of different people had like sweatshirts and stuff. There was one night I was like, gee, I wish I would have brought my jacket because you could feel the breeze coming through. So the weather was a mixture. It wasn't just, and there's no humidity, so it was just perfect weather for us. Okay, here we go. Music question. Music. Which singer had a 2007 hit with Umbrella? Which singer had a 2007 hit with Umbrella? But which singer had a 2007 hit with Umbrella? Welcome in, Annie Coop. Thank you for joining. Also, check out Tea Time Mary Ellen at 7 p.m. Check out It's Joey's World. Samantha Lowe's going live later. Jennifer Caruso's going live. The This and That crew. I saw a T. Marie's Place went live. Check out Zippity Doo Dug. Pete McDevitt's show. This Our Dreams. But which singer had a 2007 hit with Umbrella? It was Rihanna. Rihanna. So Amy the Board got it first. Then Jen's Lily's mom, Annie Koo got it. Then we had Gaga. Too recent for me. Lily's Life. Yep, not Jason. Then Kevin Theme Park Adventures. And there we go. Okay, here we go. Next question. Who directed the film Psycho and the Birds? Who directed the film Psycho and the Birds? And if you really are looking, make sure you check the prices because, like I said, Long Beach Airport, very easy to get in and out of. It's only a couple buildings, and we got a good price going into there. But check around from your cities to which is better, whether LAX, probably for nonstop flights, but then John Wayne and Long Beach, and then there's other airports around there. But who directed the film Psycho and the Birds? Who directed the films Psycho and the Birds? And it was Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock. So It's Joey's World got it first. Then we had Amy DeBoer. LSU Mom. Then Kathy Hollister. Jen Lily's mom. Jason Thibodeau. Lily's Life. Kevin Theme Park Adventures. Psycho Scared Me for Life. I like his Rear Window movie. Yes, I do too. I like that one also, Kathy. Or he's looking for the through the binoculars there. Okay, here we go. Next question. Next question. What does the French word rouge mean? Rouge. What does the French word rouge mean? Yeah. I watched a few scary movies when I was younger, but not anymore. I watch old time Dracula films and they still kind of scare me. So yeah, vampires is not my friend because that still scares me, the vampires. But what does the French word rouge mean? It means red. It means red. So we have Jen, Lily's mom, first. Then we had LSU mom, Amy DeBoard, Kathy Hollister, Jason Thibodeau, Lily's Life, It's Joey's World, Annie Koo. I watched Dark Shadows as a kid. Scared me so bad. Okay, here we go. Next question. Next question. What type of animal is a black mamba? What type of animal is a black mamba? Yes, the Dark Shadows was a vampire show. I remember that. I watched Psycho at a slumber party when I was almost 11. Ah, no wonder. What type of animal is a black mamba? It is a snake. It is a snake. So Jen Lily's mom got it first. LSU mom. Amy DeBoard. Lily's Life. Annie Coog. And Kevin Theme Park Adventures. Yes, make sure you check out Cakes 2112 and Lily's Life. And Cakes, if you want to, or Lily's Life, if you put in, I can't remember the show that Lily's dad, Ken, and Cakes does. I can't remember the name of the channel, but I know it's a number. But check those guys out. If someone knows the name of their channel that they're doing. And I know you guys were live the other night. Okay, a couple more questions and then we will end the evening. I do the 927 with Cakes and Kenny J. Yes, thank you. Make sure you check those guys out. It's pretty funny. And make sure you check out Dame Dystopia. She's usually the YouTube sensation as guest star on some of the different channels. Okay, here we go. A couple more questions and then I will end the evening. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for stopping by. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment. Let me know. Have you been to Disneyland or Disney World? And what might be your favorite or not favorite? Also, thank you if you're ninja watching. It's much appreciated. So let's continue on for a couple more questions. And I hope you guys have a great evening. What type of vegetable is Yukon Gold? What type of vegetable is Yukon Gold? Welcome in, Joseph Cardillo. But what type of vegetable is Yukon Gold? And just keep that notification bell rung. You never know when I may go live or watch all the different videos. I know I'm going to be putting out a few premieres of different attractions we did. But what type of vegetable is Yukon Gold? It is a potato. A potato. So Amy DeBoard got it first. Then we had Jen Lily's mom. Joseph Cardillo. Then we had Annie Koo. LSU mom. Kevin Theme Park Adventures. Lily's Life. Yes, beating Jeff. Yes. Yeah, that was a nice surprise that I did get to see Angela and Abby before they flew back home to Orlando. After I'd gotten home on Monday, when I was home on Monday, I went to meet them before they went back to the airport. So it was nice seeing Angela and Abby for a brief moment at Starbucks. So that was nice. So I had missed them. I did see them very briefly when I was in Orlando at the beginning of June, but then they were going on a cruise, so I didn't get to spend much time, but it was great seeing them. Okay, here we go. Next question. If a drink is served on the rocks, what would it have added to it? I got a call during trivia. Not cool. I'm back now. If a drink is served on the rocks, what would it have added to it? But if a drink is served on the rocks, what would it have added to it? It was ice. Ice means on the rocks. So we had LSU mom, Jen Lily's mom, Nico the Greco, then Joseph Cardillo, Amy DeBoer, Annie Koo, Lily's Life, and Kevin, Theme Park Adventures. Okay, 2 more questions, and then I will end the stream. Here we go. What is the largest ocean in the world? What is the largest ocean in the world? But what is the largest ocean in the world? It is the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean. So, okay, Kathy had it. Thank you, LSU mom. I must have missed her there. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for the ice. Okay, the answer is the Pacific Ocean. So, Jen Lily's Life mom. Then Amy DeBoer. Nico the Greco. Joseph Cardillo. LSU mom. Kevin Theme Park Adventures. Annie Coog. Lily's Life. Scotch on the Rocks, I Mean Ice, Eddie Valiant. Yeah, I probably had to because cartoon characters. Okay, here we go. The final question of the evening. I'm sorry it was cut short, but I wanted to talk about the trip, and I know I got on here late, but I don't want to cut into Tita, Mary Ellen, and everyone else. But I do appreciate you all stopping in. But here we go. In Cinderella, what is Cinderella's coach made from? In Cinderella, what is Cinderella's coach made from? In the movie Cinderella, what is Cinderella's coach made from? And the answer is a pumpkin. A pumpkin. So we had LSU mom. Oh, yeah. LSU mom was first. Then Jen Lily's mom. Kathy Hollister. Amy DeBoer. Nico the Greco. Annie Koo. Lily's Life. Kevin Theme Park Adventure. Do I get points for writing a pumpkin? Should have been John Stamos' hair. It would have been really strong. Yes. I'll give one bonus question here for everyone since I was late. But here is the bonus question. In what month is St. Patrick's Day? In what month is St. Patrick's Day? But in what month is St. Patrick's Day? And we have the answer. It is March. March. So we have Jen Lily's mom, Amy DeBoer, Then we have Kevin Theme Park Adventures, Annie Koo, Nico the Greco, Kathy Hollister, LSU Mom, Lily's Life. Yeah, marching. I caught that there, but she did correct it. So she got 2 points for that one. Okay. Let me add up the points to see who our big winner is this evening. Okay. So our big winner this evening is Jen Lily's mom. 26 points. 26 points for Jen Lily's mom. Our second place winner is Amy DeBoard with 19 points. With 19 points, Amy DeBoard. LSU mom, 17 points for third place. 17 points. Then then Lily's Life, 14 points. Kevin Theme Park Adventure, 12 points. Annie Koo, 11 points. It's Joey's World, 10 points. Kevin Theme Park Adventure, I already did that, 12 points. Kathy Hollister, 11 points. Cakes 2112, 6 points. Jason Thibodeau, 6 points. Joseph Cardillo, 4 points. And Nico the Greco, 6 points. So congratulations, Jen Lily's mom. And there you have it, everyone. Thank you all for joining. I know I rambled on about Disneyland, but I just wanted to talk to people about it. And just in case, if you do have questions sometime, I know I'm not the big expert, but I at least know a lot of different things now that I didn't know before after going this time around. So my phone is at 5%. So, okay, Annie Koo, have a great night. Thank you, Ellie, for the ninja watching. It's much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed watching. Glad you enjoyed the trip, Amy. So jealous. Yes. Yeah, I can't wait to go back. I know what Jennifer's feeling. It's like you see it and you're like, oh, I'd like to go back. But I do want to get down to Disney World for all the new stuff that's happening there. But thank you all for joining. Thank you. I know you could be watching other people. It's great that you follow. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment. Let me know how you enjoyed Disneyland or Disney World, if you've been to either one of them, and what questions you got correct. So have a great night, everyone, and let the adventures begin. Good night, everyone, and have a great rest of your week. Bye.